Hi listeners, welcome to my channel. On 23rd of July at 10:37 p.m. Eastern Time, Sun and Moon would oppose each other, illuminating 1 degree 26 minutes of Aquarius. That would be 24th of July for most of the world outside the US. This full moon would influence us for the next 2 weeks. There are 2 full moons in Aquarius this year. One is this and another one is on 22nd of August at 29 degree 37 minutes of Aquarius. Together they bring us one step closer to what we seeded with Saturn Jupiter conjunction of 21st of December 2020, which is the new structure of our growth for the next 20 years. The great conjunction of Jupiter Saturn on 21st of December 2020, which was the closest and the most powerful conjunction of these two planets since 1623, marks the move to a new economic cycle and a new material reality. We are seeing a new material reality for each of us as part of that, and this Aquarius full moon gives the first deliverable on the road to it. It's not the end destination, but it's a very important step to it. This full moon comes with sudden ideas, brainwaves, culminations, conclusions, launches and evolution that are unencumbered and largely free of influences because they are forward looking. They do come with intent to influence and benefit the collective and the masses, but it is not coming inspired or influenced by them. It is a vision, a desire, a dream of one that we wish to leave behind us, as reflected in the sentiments of the famous words of the one who has made sure that none of us ever look up from our screen, Steve Jobs. I want to put a ding in the universe. Don't we all? And with this full moon, we are inspired to put that dent, that ding in the universe, which is unique to us. And it may take time, but by God, won't we all try? Aquarius is both endurance and disruption, all rolled in one brilliant package. We would need both, and we should see both for the next 2 weeks. As before, if you would like to receive the transcript of all of my videos and podcasts in your mailbox, or just get the details of transit as they happen, you can sign up for my free newsletter. Link is in description. If you'd like to support my work, making it more sustainable for me to do this at cost of a coffee a month, link to becoming a patron is in description as well. I would like to thank my patrons and subscribers who make this content possible. Do not miss out on any notification of a critical transit for you. Do subscribe and press the little bell button for notifications. I appreciate your subscription, likes and comments and your loving support very much. My name is Charu and I'm your host on this journey. So let's dig in. We are now in Leo season. Happy birthday to Leo Sun and a very happy solar return to Leo rising, Moon and Sun. Sun is very strong in Leo and it is happy as it rules Leo. It boosts our sense of identity. It's generous, cheerful, enthusiastic, creative. It's the fun-loving energy of the kings and queens and the leaders within us, and it boosts our ego identity. Under its influence for the next 1 month, we get to experience being fully ourselves, and a piece of this beautiful, unique energy is provided to all of us. Leo season is coming with very critical turning points, though I've been pointing those to you since start of July, and they're going to be very surprising turning points, with first of all having a new moon on 8th of August, which is coming with a Uranus square. So that new start itself of 8th of August is going to be very surprising, and it's also coming with a Yod activation around 19th of July, which would bring fated and seemingly out of control events which would open up paths we have not envisaged so far. That's what Yod activations normally do. They bring us through a crisis to a path we didn't even know existed. But once we see it, the chains of life events we have been through, they start making sense. We will talk about all of that in detail in the August monthly reading, but those over the top energies which we are about to enter into, they would be balanced during this whole period by 2 Aquarius full moons that we are going to experience as well. These Aquarius full moons, they will help us try to make sense of these experiences, and being an air moon, they try to help us comprehend what's happening fully, detached as well as objectively, and see ahead of time on how to use it for the benefit of all and create a more balanced dialogue around it versus getting overwhelmed by it all. Having a full moon in Aquarius before and after these events, which will be evoked by the Yod activation in the middle of August, indicate that our vision, culminations, our long-term projects and dreams that we are working on, they would go through a period of stark evolution during this period between these two full moons. What we start off and seemingly deliver now with 23rd or 24th of July may be very different from what we finally end up with the 22nd of August full moon. There will be a fundamental restructuring of our paths, our vision and our goals due to events leading to 22nd of August full moon. It doesn't make the 23rd or 24th of July full moon moot, but rather it's not the final destination. That's what I'm trying to tell you, as a lot will change between 23rd or 24th of July Aquarius full moon and 22nd of August full moon. We would not only have that Yod activation, which is normally a turning point, we would also have had the Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius reaching their retrograde midpoint through opposition to Sun, which will happen on 2nd and 19th of August, and they're both critical points of realizations and changes. This, of course, brings a lot of volatility in global events, in our personal endeavors, and collective angst will be high, but it brings us closer to what we want to leave behind. Jupiter moving to Aquarius on 28th of July, which is end of this month. Jupiter is again moving back to Aquarius, and it opposing the Sun. And finally merging. Jupiter is an integral part of the 22nd of August full moon. It will show us that there's something bigger that we can go for versus what we are currently going for. There will be another perspective, another new way of looking at our growth, our vision, our legacy, which will be shown to us with Jupiter coming back to Aquarius after 28th of July and then making an opposition to Sun right before the full moon of 22nd of August. In addition to that, Uranus will be standing still in August. Uranus is the planet of sudden changes and sudden shifts. It will shatter a lot of old structures and dependencies which will be coming through sudden events, leading to Uranus going retrograde around 19th or 20th of August. Let's look at the history of this full moon, although nothing is the same, but we can look back at history of our life. Every full moon is normally a conclusion of the past 6 months of effort. So this full moon will also be a conclusion of the past 6 months. But this full moon, both of them in Aquarius, the one that is happening right now and the one that will happen on 22nd of August, they both activate sensitive degrees. Both the full moon activate the eclipses we had in Aquarius on 15th of August and 27th of July 2018. But again, as I've been mentioning in the previous full moon and new moon videos, these are activations which happened with South Node, which means that we had to let go something at that time between 15th of February to 27th of July. Or it's possible that we had to do something selflessly without any returns, which is not the case now. Aquarius eclipses, which happen on 15th of February and 27th of July 2018, would have brought some sudden shifts and changes in our life. You can look back to how your life changed through those sudden events around that time in 2018. This specific full moon, which is happening right now, it deals with the 27th of July 2018 lunar eclipse, which was activated in September of 2018. So focus on the time between July and September of 2018, as similar themes of sudden shifts can play out right now. But you have to remember that at that time we had Ketu or South Node in Aquarius, which means we had to lose something, we had to release something, or we had to do something selflessly, which is not the case right now. This can be very gainful in contrast to what happened between July and September 2018, which was not meant to be gainful. A lot has changed since 2018. Our vision has been completely shifted and changed, especially with the conjunction of Saturn Jupiter on 21st of December. So how we want our growth to look like right now, it will be very different, but it will show you the personal themes which will again get activated now. The full moon in Aquarius are happening at 1 degree 26 minute of Aquarius and 29 degree 37 minute of Aquarius, so around 1 degree and the last degree. So if your chart, if your personal natal chart specifically interacts with these degrees, any of your personal planets or points, you would feel these conclusions, closures and shifts very, very strongly. Now this is not an eclipse, but you can still use the video I did on what happens, does an eclipse really impact you, because it shows you what happens if a full moon interacts with your planets. I will leave the link to that in the description. You can choose, for example, if your sun interacts with that degree, moon interacts, you can just click on the planets in the comments and you can go down to that specific planet and see how you are personally impacted. Incidentally, I started my channel, not incidentally, we know the patterns through astrology. So I started this channel with that eclipse on 27th of July 2018, and that video that I'm going to link in the description, which is does an eclipse impact us or not personally, that was done with that eclipse. And I'm looking to launch the next stage. I'm looking to launch my site with this one. Similarly, there could be something next for you, a improved version of your vision, an improved or changed version of your vision, a refined version of your vision, which due to the events of the last couple of years that you're looking to launch and go live with during this full moon now. In 2018, we saw US-China trade war. Both are Aquarius moon countries. We saw sanctions on Iran. We saw extreme weather conditions with Japan floods, India floods, heat wave in North America and Canada, wildfires in Greece, and tsunami in Indonesia. And we saw 𝗓𝗏𝗏 also emerge in that period. We saw strange bedfellows in terms of country alliances that were formed at that time. We found water on Mars in space exploration. We came across sudden challenges like the deadly outbreak of Ebola in Africa, Congo. We saw market volatility with Facebook dropping by 20% due to data leak scandal, which impacted its user growth. And we saw Apple surge to 1 trillion market cap, and that was 2018, which was the longest lunar eclipse of 21st of century, and Mars at that time was closest to Earth since 2003. This is just a full moon, so impacts can be parallel in terms of themes, but intensity is not comparable now. Looking at the degree of this full moon is happening at the degree of concretization of an ideal, where an individual is essentially immortalized by a great enterprise he or she creates, which has collective impact. Aquarius at this degree was described by UDR to bring idealized, noble ideal into concrete form of beauty and significance, and that is what we should aim to do, create something that we want to leave behind, which creates an immortal form of ourselves, which has collective benefit and impact. The great conjunction of Saturn Jupiter on 21st of December 2020 was a powerful meeting of these two seeding a new material reality for us, and now we might be creating something as a result of that to give it physical form. Now Aquarius has contradiction embedded in its DNA. It's both structure and disruption rolled in one. We will find this blend of energy in full force over the next 2 weeks, and we'll find the blend of these two completely embedded in the output, in the product, in the material reality that we are creating as well. In terms of global events, it would bring out both the need for structure and the need for disruption in that structure together as well. Too much has been put up for far too long, and seems like there will be an urgency to change it all in one swoop. Saturn Jupiter in Aquarius, along with Uranus standing still in August, it will be activating this universal womb that per Hindu mythology gave birth to the world as we know it. We discussed that in January as well. This is seeding the emergence of a new mutation according to the great rhythm of the cosmos. We as humanity are undergoing a mutation process, and similarly a new form of you is taking shape as well. If in some way some part of your life has not moved with this evolution, any part of your life, your vision, your goal, the people in your life, the network that you're part of, the people you hang out with, and a connection, a way to connect with others, or our impact on others, and our mindset has not evolved, we would see the fragment of those part of ourselves which do not belong in the next evolution, in the next mutation of ourselves. They would be released through dissonance and some sort of event which will ask us to release that. We have full year of Saturn square Uranus. As I said at the start of the year, there will be forces wanting to change the old structure of society, and there will be rules made for those changes. There will be rules even made which seem like wanting to suppress that chaos, but the manifestation of chaos is just a sign that something deeper is looking to evolve, is looking to change, and it has not been addressed for far too long. A chaos and friction created in our own personal capacity, in our own life at this time, will also show the same. The fixed structures of our life which have outlived their purpose, the patterns of interacting with others, the personal equations which have now become unsuitable to who you're becoming, they will be challenged. Astrologers consider moon weak in Aquarius. I think those who say that do not know how to use moon in Aquarius. Moon and Aquarius have a way to balance each other out when they're together. We are objectively able to look at emotional patterns. We are able to dial down both the emotional needy side of us as well as the fanatism, the skepticism, or even the offensive and different side of us. We are able to blend the two together. So don't expect this moon in Aquarius to emote and sympathize with you. That is not what it was created for. You're using it all wrong if you're expecting it to empathize with your lot. This is where we will get into personal scuffles. If we'll expect others to emote with us, empathize with us, especially our loved ones, we'll get into personal scuffles with them. Rather, expect it to give you answers. Give you answers that you need, and the brilliance that opens the locks of our clouded minds at this time. Expect it to give you stark clarity. Expect it to serve you truth objectively with a can of friendly beer maybe. Expect it to permit all your instincts to be fairly developed so that what you present to others is not going to be so jarringly bizarre to alienate others. Normally, an Aquarius trait which is looked down upon or not considered to be positive is the way they seem to come across being a rebellion without even wanting to be that. But Moon in Aquarius dials that down a little bit, because we are able to present something different, but it can be clad in a more charming or alluring cover that brings the collective together, rooting for you and not against you. At least it has the potential to be able to do that. And in our individual capacity in 2021, we are learning to stop being so afraid of our own uniqueness, our own different parts of ourselves, and we becoming so scared to show us, while we need to learn how to bring it to the collective. We need to learn how to wrap it in the right wrappers and present it to others. Where we place doubts and even fears of acceptance over the things that we are different on from others, radical confidence of Uranus needs to be placed. Uranus creates this inexplicable force of detaching from anything other than authentic, that you will feel a physical dissonance if you are not being you. If you are suppressing your own self, you'll feel it physically. It's called going against your own current. It will show up as inflammation, as sleeplessness, as dissonance in the body, and Uranus is going to stand still in August, and we will feel that dissonance very strongly if we are going against our current. This full moon and 22nd of August full moon brings a few closure where we are not rooting for ourselves, where we are going against our own current, where we are suppressing our uniqueness, where we are suppressing our own, where we are working against our own current, and a few closures where that dissonance is physically felt will come through with these moons. Moon in Aquarius presents a chance to show up with that uniqueness to others in, dare I say, even popular forms. If they're not palatable, they can even be popular and charming forms. And it may not be the intent, because Moon in Aquarius is not aiming to do that, but the uniqueness becomes much more palatable due to its simplicity with Moon in Aquarius. And closures, if any, they can be objectively handled. January and February cycle of Leo and Aquarius moons which happen, they brought us to some of those conclusions. They brought us to some of the chapters which were fake in our life, which possibly began mid of 2019. They brought them to conclusions. But they also gave us an opportunity to instead seed something new in place of them. Now with this particular moment, we have to move forward on those seeds. What we sowed with the 11th of February Aquarius New Moon, now we have to help grow it further. Give them support from others. Show ourselves to others. Put those seeds on a platform. No matter how unsure we might feel within, find the unique tribe that we know would walk that different path with us, and release the ones who have outlived their karma in our life. Life is too short to keep living someone else's vision and dreams, even if they are of the ones who have so far cultivated you and grown you and brought you where you are, because it's time to move forward and not keep looking back. I will put the link to the 11th of February Aquarius New Moon description, where I had gone over each zodiac sign to see what we might have seeded on 11th of February 2021 Aquarius New Moon, which might be coming for the first harvest or coming for release now. You can review those themes right now to help you look at them. Looking at overall global themes which will come out at this time, Aquarius full moon brings out the innovator, the idealist, the humanitarians, the instinctual brilliance and broad-minded in us as individuals, and particularly as a society, because it's a sign of the collective. We would see that come out. The inspirational philanthropists, the diversity champions, the civil rights, women rights, child welfare liberators, the scientific, the space, the digital discoverers, they would all come out to play. The evolutionary are woken up and they come out to display what they have got to move the collective to the next stage of human evolution. Now, some do it by product demos and releases, while some would do it through movements, strikes, protests screaming not for profit, not for profit. Political party changes and government changes come during this time. While Leo Sun reminds us of our self-love, ego, artistic, colorful individuality, Aquarius Moon tries to make sure there is a socially available version of us and our talents that can be consumed by others who can benefit from it, and also that we are rewarded for what we seemingly create in our individual madness or brilliance. No man is an island, and ego or pride has its place, but all our abstract ideas, they need a palatable mode of communication. Every unique talent needs an apt demo. Every innovation needs a launch pad. Every proud or shy individual creator should have an extrovert friend or a set of friends who help them bring their progressive arts and ideas to social platform, to assume a place in the world's network, recognize that you can be supported by others, and see what kind of influence your unique creations can have on others. While all of us take a step to pay our dues to our existence through contributions to our in our individual capacity by creating something which is part of the forward evolution of mankind through launches, publications, and our own ding in the universe, we also will focus on rewards, returns, gains. Saturn is also a ruler of Aquarius, which has to focus on concrete outcome of what we are creating. There needs to be gains, there need to be rewards, there need to be returns. And hence the vision will change as a result of need of those when we'll see the Sun-Saturn opposition at the start of August, because we need to have a vision which corroborates to the returns we want in life as well. Everyone will try to make a wave to influence the collective, and we might have multiple visions, but the ones that will become fixed in stone need to have the right rewards at the end of it as well. Mind is a very powerful tool, and it becomes very evident at this time because ruling the networks, the electricity that runs through our nerves and the nerve of the society, Aquarius full moons is going to stimulate our mind. They're very stimulative and they can be very inspiring and imaginative, but it can also be used negatively by those who want to do it because you're stimulating the masses, so they can be radicalized to create an anxious movement instead of creating a constructive change. Inspiration can swing either ways, and we need to be a bit careful on that. Clashes are possible as we try to find the balance. It's the sign whose very existence is rebellion after all. So having a different view, a different way of feeling comfortable can sit in stark contrast with another, and it can show up as a form of rebellion. And in today's world, you don't need to do much. Just having a different perspective becomes a rebellion as well. But in global events, we'll see that the pleasure industry, entertainment industry, F&B sector, high finance, risky investments, political powers, rich countries, benefit of a few, they can clash with what needs to be done for the collective well-being or for the needs of the humanitarian causes, environmentalists, innovators. We'll have to balance these two sides of the society, which will seem more split than ever with these full moons in August. Saturn and Uranus are two rulers of Aquarius, and they continue to clash. They continue to show the fight between the rules, administration, structures, and restrictions versus our need to set free, to innovate, to create new ideas and discover new grounds, which is giving us both the year of rebellion and restrictions, as well as the year where our ahead of time ideas and ideals, which were just intuition so far, they'll be forced to be given concrete forms in this year. All tangible strides in advancement of human evolution involved this aspect, and we are right smack in the middle of it right now. But this is the time when the structural U-turn or changes or modifications in our visions and those ideals, and those structure of those ideals are done at this point, and you'll face that in the coming few days. Aquarius comes with its brilliance, so great works of the mind can be created under its influence, dealing with tangible creativity. So normally great ideas and epiphanies, they arrive, which should be put to work during this time. It's the time of the underdog, and it's time for freedom of expression. If you get a brainwave, it's the time to get going on it. Internet, computers, digital world is ruled by Aquarius, as is astrology, astronomy, and space exploration. And it's time to bring out whatever we have been working on for the past 6 months, or since the Saturn Jupiter conjunction of 21st of December. It's time for conclusion, for results, for closures, and for things to come to light. And it's happening at the time when we would experience the full Mercury, which will happen on 1st of August. So around 1st of August, a lot of information will come to light, a lot of communication in your personal capacity as well as in news. A lot of things will come to light. Things will come in open, and we'll need to examine them. We will examine the experimentation of the past 40 days when Mercury was moving ahead of Sun, to make sense of it. Some of the experiments worked, some of them did not. So projects that are brought to conclusion and goals or visions are essentially reviewed. We look back and see whether they are right for us to move forward on. Do we want to continue to go that way or not? A change in approach is called on, and that comes through some information disclosure, which will happen over the course of coming week around 1st of August. Now the challenge of this full moon sits in having a hard aspect with Virgo Venus. I spoke about it in the July reading as well. Whatever is birthed will not be deemed either fully practical by somebody, or it will not be good enough, or it will not be as precise and exact in returns as you would like it. Virgo Venus would have her nose up, saying, oh, it's so expensive, or it's not detailed enough, it's not pretty enough. It's time to get it out. The thing with Virgo Venus is always we keep on delaying, waiting for it to be perfect, which is not the right thing to do. Quality can feel a little bit compromised, but it also means that we need to face some issue of acceptability in this time, accepting that what we are creating is a work in progress. Our goals, our vision, they are work in progress. So we can face some issue of acceptability, even love and affection, especially from loved ones, especially female during this time. And imbalance in support can show up from those in your life whom you love or who are close to you. And it can be felt very deeply at this time. We can feel like criticized for what we are doing in some way, especially creatively. We can feel that. Do not try to find that comfort in food, which is the tendency with this aspect. We try to cover it up, the discomfort, with something else which is comfortable, which is usually in this case food. Carry on. This is a brief discomfort and it will pass. Nothing starts as perfect. And this is the first draft of what you're about to do. Lack of acknowledgement we normally feel in this moment from another is usually our own self-criticism or our own need for perfection, which plays out through another person. And this is a little bit of you not loving you enough on you. And Leo season is all about changing that. So that's what we have to change and adjust to. What we are trying to do socially or for our goals, they can even conflict with what our loved ones need from us in some ways, which can create friction in terms of what we want and what others want of us. There'll be a need for middle path. There are two roles in life. They may not be blending so well with each other at this time. I'm working on my site for a while because I'm trying to do it myself, and I love the control it gives me over my own content as Scorpio rising would want it. But it's far from ready, and my 6th house Sun and Virgo Jupiter cannot stand where it is. But I'm putting it on live, and I would continue to make it better as I put my content on it in one centralized place for everyone, and hopefully I will expand on it further. You can take a peek on it, but it's nowhere close to being done. And it's like I'm not happy with it. I don't know about anybody else. I'm not happy with it. So something gnaws on you, like it's not perfect, it's not good enough, it's not beautiful enough, it's not this enough. There's something it's not enough, which claws on you, which comes from this Virgo season already making it claws and its hands into the Leo season right now, which you'll feel with Venus making a hard aspect with this full moon. In terms of health, because health perspective does come up with this, we will need to take care of our nerves. It's like with Aquarius, everything is a flash. So sudden blood pressure drop, sudden circulatory issues which happen in the veins, sudden pressure shifts can be felt, sudden weather change impacting you. We need to be careful about those themes, especially if we have an underlying issue of the nerves. We need to be a little bit careful at this time. Aquarius rules electricity and lightning. Usually a full moon in Aquarius, it brings electric storms, or it brings sudden lightning bolts, storms, destructive winds, sudden cold weather. So we need to watch out for that. And with Uranus standing still in August, we are looking at a period where some sudden earth changes will show itself, and we are already seeing that in process. Capricorn full moon, which we had earlier, it usually brings dry weather or drought, which we saw exaggerated. And then Cancer season is supposed to bring rains, which we saw exaggerated. So we'll see exaggerated weather patterns playing out during this time. Ground your electricity, just be careful on it. There can be sudden electric incidents during this time. If you feel too wired within you, dial down, which we can at this time. Just dial down, ground yourself, reduce your exposure to electronic devices and stimulants like coffee. I'm on my third cup. Okay, shouldn't have said that. Economy and stock market, they will enter a very volatile period at this time. Economy and stock market usually goes through a very ups and downs. And this is not financial or health advice, but I'm telling you what normally these kind of full moons they bring. This full moon is happening at a beautiful fixed star called Altair. Again, I spoke of it in my July reading. It is a star of wealth and power. So the potential of what you go for, it has the aim to go higher in bolder fashion than anybody has before. To soar to unexplored heights is what Altair does. It's the flight of the eagle. This is bold, very valiant undertaking, which happens through risk taking. A little bit of risk is embedded in it, and what is embedded in it is determination. It's a very enduring degree of Aquarius, which is symbolized by eagle, which was used by great powers, right? Roman Empire, United States, as their seal or logo to represent superpower. This is a star of power, of success, and of leadership for human relationships, for peace, for human rights. It represents willingness to explore completely new ideas and frontiers. We do not want to do what everybody has already hashed out and done with. We want to contribute what's our unique perspective, and that will involve taking some risk and even facing some rejections in the process to it. But that is not just a quest for oneself, this is a quest for others, and that will be the push behind it. You're not just doing it as an individual, you are doing it as to bring a change, to bring something bigger, something grander to life. Considering the star has quality of Mars, it would involve swift actions. Boldness of actions will be needed, and it will need to become integral part of our emotional reaction to both criticism and obstacles that will come on this path, which will be integral part of this launch, this product that you're giving birth to, this vision that you're giving birth to as well. You'll have to boldly face those and move forward from them. We have to remember the very existence of what we do Aquarian, the Aquarius part of us, the very existence of that part of us is rebellion. So it's the discovery of what's not just as different about us, It's also about bringing it out to others and not feeling ashamed to do it on a platform to large set of masses. It's about showing yourself, and not for the show of it, but because hiding it will hurt the well-being of others, as we have all something to contribute. Considering the very existence of that part of us is rebellion, not everyone is going to like what they see, but our unique perspective, great imagination, ability to see trends ahead of time, because this is a degree of clairvoyance, our ability to research the strange, to research the unique, to research the ancient is much more passionate and hardy than whole of us. It would get through, and with that star, we have the power to influence and benefit the collective with that part of us. We would have Pluto also come into Aquarius in March of 2023, which is not too far to go. And that is when whatever we are seeding now, whatever we are trying to create now, the ahead of time idea, it would become the source of power. And we will see that in global events. Whosoever controls the tech and space would control every known resource. Power structures would move from Earth to air when Pluto moves into Aquarius in March of 2023. Ideas, brains, innovations like space travel, AI, they will rule the world versus physical or fixed assets like oil or minerals. Positive could be that there could be more liberty, less controls of centralized and totalitarian structures, more equal distribution of wealth to people, like through universal basic income, or more money back to retail through stock market. Some of those themes which are more egalitarian, more equal distribution of resources in some ways, but at the same time we will see that the source of power will change with Pluto changing signs in March of 2023, and Saturn and Jupiter this year and next year, they're paving the way for it. Innovation revolution which is happening within constraints with Saturn and Aquarius, it is paving the way to it. Saturn is Aquarius is both constraints on our air, on our freedom, but it is also forcing us to structure our innovation, because that very innovation, that very forward looking idea, that very launches you're doing, they'll become the source of power moving forward. Both United States and China have their moon in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius would bring people uprising, stark changes in people with Pluto moving over their moons. As for current full moon, it falls on the ascendant and moon of China, impacting its people and its businesses. So that's what I have for you. I'll see you in the next video. We'll go over individual signs and what can we expect for you as a result of this full moon. Thank you.